Hey there, friends on YouTube, it's the JTL, and today I want to talk to you about why I sold my PSVR. So let's do it. Okay, so here we are. It's launch week, launch day, maybe, of the PSVR. I don't know. It actually kind of snuck up on me. I wasn't paying a ton of attention, but we are at the BB, the Best Buy, out shopping on the weekend at the mall, stop into Best Buy because that's what I do, and then I picked it up. I just, they had one launch bundle left. The guy thought they didn't have any. Went back to the warehouse area. He found one, miraculous, and I thought, oh, it's Kismet. So I purchased it. Got home, set it up with my daughter, did all the stuff that we needed to do to get it ready, and played with it for about the first week. Played the launch bundle games, played some of the demo stuff, played Batman VR, and it was generally pretty fun. I mean, that first rush that you get when you're doing the VR thing is something else. It's really not something like anything that you've done before. And so we enjoyed that. But then after that first week or so, the spell wore off. There just wasn't anything left to do. You play the 15-20 minute games, and then you can play those games again. Up until this week when Resident Evil 7 came out, there wasn't really anything that you could do that was, would keep you occupied for days on end or weeks on end. I'm somebody who likes to spend a lot of time with a game. I don't like to just dip in and dip out and do a bunch of different games. When I'm playing a game, I'm usually sort of locked in on one. And that wasn't happening with the PSVR. And now I used to teach at the business school here at the University of Iowa. I taught ethics, I taught public speaking, I taught business writing, I taught a bunch of stuff. And one of the things that I taught in terms of ethics and bias is the concept of sunk cost versus, I forget. Anyway, this idea that after a certain point, something becomes a sunk cost, which means you're never going to recoup the same value from it. And so you shouldn't think about it as like, oh, how am I going to get my money back? I was very afraid that PSVR was going to very quickly become something that I couldn't recoup on. And $500 is a lot of money. And since it's a lot of money, I really needed to be aware of that. If Sony does continue to support that, then I can always go out and grab one again. Or maybe they come out with a V2, and I'll grab that again. Resident Evil 7 is not a killer app for me. It's not a game that I really want to play. It's not my kind of game. So there was nothing there that I immediately felt like I have to have this for this right now. And then I looked on eBay and I saw that it was going for, used were going for $600 to $700, maybe even closer to $750, the launch bundle. And that's, more money than what I paid for it. Non-open box brand new ones were going for upwards of $1,000. If you look on Amazon right now, they've got ridiculous prices for them. But I just wanted to move on, and I was lucky enough to sell mine on eBay for $600, which of course on eBay means like $650 or whatever. But still, I made a little bit of money off of it, and was able to pass it on to somebody who I hope will enjoy it, and it will be the thing that they're looking for. And I am, though, really afraid that Sony is not going to support this thing. And if Sony doesn't support it, then everybody's going to have a dusty headset and some move sticks laying around that they spent a bunch of money on. I can't intuit, I can't see what Sony's next move is for this. There's nothing coming down the line that really says to me, hey, there's games coming. In fact, if you take a look at some of the stuff that was slated for later on at launch, a lot of those games have been, so I don't know. At any rate, I still was very interested in VR though. I recently got into the game Elite Dangerous. I hadn't really played an open world game for a long time. I hadn't really done any kind of space game, and was just looking for something that, while I love to play Battlefield, that's not a very relaxing game. I was looking for something that I could really just enjoy, slow paced if I wanted to be, fast paced if I wanted to be, but overall very kind of soothing. I have a few anxiety problems. So I grabbed Elite Dangerous. I've been playing it a little bit here and there, just really trying to learn how to play it because it's a very involved game, and there's not really any easy way to get started. There are no training wheels for how to play the game. There are some training modes, and I have played through those, but I digress. Then I thought, hey, Elite Dangerous they support VR natively. So I started looking into what was going on with the other VR stuff, the more higher end stuff like the Oculus and the Vive. The Vive didn't seem to me like a viable option because A, it's heavier than either the PSVR or the Oculus, and as somebody who wears glasses, if you've got something heavy on your face and it starts to pull your glasses down, I just didn't want to take a risk at $800 that was what was going to happen there. I know that the general consensus has been since these things launched that the Vive is better than the Oculus, and maybe a lot of that is just because the Oculus didn't have the handheld controllers, but now they do, and I didn't get them, but I may one of these days. So I took my $600 and I went to Best Buy and I got an Oculus Rift right here. And I can say this, it is much better in quality. It fits better. It isn't as heavy. It's, I mean, it has more potential than the PSVR. After a certain point, VR on a console started to feel to me like it was just going to be a toy. Sort of like the Kinect, which had a ton of potential. People did cool things with it that weren't Microsoft things. There was a lot of cool stuff that could have happened with the Kinect, but it never quite worked right. It seemed like the 360 and the Xbox One just weren't the platform where that was going to work well. Same thing with the Move sticks and all that. So with the Oculus, I mean, it's put together really nicely. It's very, very nice. The headset on here that's locked in is also. These headphones sound pretty good, to tell you the truth. It's very interesting. It's nice. It doesn't hurt my face, and it doesn't feel too heavy. So it was easier to get it to fit. It was easier to get everything to sort of like stay in the center. It was pretty easy to set up, but with PC, it's never just plug and play. There's always a little bit of futzing that you have to do, and I got a triple monitor set up here, where I was then going to have to set up yet another thing that works like a monitor. So there was time that I needed to spend, but it wasn't less than it was less than a couple of hours until everything was playing nicely together. So I grabbed the Oculus, and I've been using it just the past day or so. And so far, I will say I like it better than the PSVR, which maybe shouldn't be a surprise, but I do. The things that frighten me about the PSVR, the fact that it might not continue to be supported, that there weren't really any heavy-hitting, long-term, dive in and stay there for a while games at this point. It just felt like it was going to continue to be a toy for an extended period of time. It was a little too heavy. It was hard to get things in focus. It was hard to keep things in focus. It was cool, but beyond like that first few days of like, wow, this is cool, it became something that I just wasn't really interested in futzing with. Whereas with the Oculus, I mean, time will tell, and I'll come back and do a review of it and tell you how I've been doing and what I've been doing and if it's been fun and all that kind of stuff. But this feels like something that is an extension of, like, I've got a nice PC, I've got 3 27-inch monitors, so this feels like an extension of something nice. It's a piece of quality equipment that has been around for a while. If you think about it, they've gone through 2 developer kits. They've had a lot of time to really work on this stuff, and they've got competition in the Vive. So as Oculus and Vive keep going back and forth, that competition will really push both companies to do better and to keep supporting their devices and all that. So I'm excited about the possibilities, not just for gaming, but for interface overall with computers and stuff like that in your home when it comes to the Oculus. Whether or not that stuff comes to be in the near future, whether or not it comes to be in the far future, I do think that something like the Oculus and the Vive are probably the future of VR, whatever that future might be. And PSVR felt to me like something cool that ultimately will be pretty limited by the platform it exists on. So my buddy Game Sky, he did a video about why he decided to get rid of his PSVR and started to get some hate from some of the folks that were watching the video. They were doing nasty things like talking about his family, etc., etc. That's not cool. If you want to talk about me, fine. If you want to insult me, fine. I get where he's coming from. Family is off limits. But I thought it was an interesting conversation to have. I mean, these are exciting times when it comes to what we can do with technology and where technology might take us. So that's my thoughts on why I got rid of my PSVR. Do you still have your PSVR? Did you get a PSVR? Are you interested in the Oculus or the Vive? Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your dreams, your hopes, your desires down in the comments below. And until the next time, this is the JTL and I'm out.